Hey everyone, it's Chelsea. I'm excited to talk to you about setting up your custom stages inside of your Recruiterbox account. Right here, we're inside an opening called Assistant Baker, and I'd like to build my hiring workflow stages inside of this opening. So if I click over into the Workflow tab, I can start building them now. Once inside this tab, I can see my hiring workflow and I can see the stages that are already pre-built in this opening. Each opening comes with pre-built stages to get you started. Alternatively, you can always copy stages forward from a previous opening when you're first creating the opening. If I click Manage on the right-hand side here, I can set up these stages. From here, I can edit any of the existing stages, or I can add a new stage. Each stage is going to have a coordinator. This is the person who manages the candidates when they're in that stage of the process. Additionally, there are some special stage types, including plain stages, interview stages, and review stages. Let's walk through building each of those. When I click on Add a New Stage, I can pick between these three types. A plain stage is great for bucketing candidates during a certain step of the process, but maybe when I'm not ready to review them or interview them at that point. A review stage is an excellent time to gather feedback from your colleagues about a particular candidate. And an interview stage is where you can set up all of your interview workflows pre-built so that you don't have to add them every time you build an interview for the candidate. Let's build a plain stage first. Clicking on plain stage, I'm able to name the stage. And then I'm also able to assign a coordinator. You can assign any user who has access to the opening as the coordinator for the stage. Next, let's build a review stage. The review stage is a perfect point in the process to have your users review the candidate. You can build as many review stages as you'd like throughout your process. In my team, we use the review stage to review the homework assignment after we've sent it to the candidate. You can set whoever you'd like to be the coordinator of the stage or the person responsible for the candidate during this step in the process, as well as who you'd like to be the reviewers during the process. The reviewers can be existing users of your account or perhaps someone who is not a user of your Recruiterbox account, but you would like them to review during this step of the process. If they're not an existing user, you can simply add their email address here and they'll be invited to review the candidates that you send to them. You can have the candidates automatically be sent for review when someone enters the stage or to prompt you to send the review when they enter the stage. When someone is sent a candidate to review, they receive a link to the candidate's profile with the information inside the profile and a place to leave their feedback. Last of all, let's build an interview stage. Interview stages are special because they let you pre-build interview details so that you don't have to enter them every time you interview the candidate. You can build interview stages throughout your process for the different types of interviews that you and your team take. First, you'll put in the stage name. This is typically the type of interview, such as a Skype interview, an in-person interview, or whatever type of interviewing your team does. After that, you're going to pick the coordinator, who is the person responsible for the candidate during this step of the process. You can also specify what you'd like the interview title to be if it's perhaps different than the stage name. Lastly, you'll fill in the interviewers. This again can be any of your Recruiterbox users or someone who might not yet be a user but would be the perfect person to interview this candidate. In that case, you would enter their email address here. Lastly, you can pick the information specifically about the interview, such as what type of interview it is or the duration of the interview. Quick pro tip, if you are looking to add a duration that isn't listed here, you can always free type it in. Another handy thing to set up on the interviews is the evaluation forms. This is a structured form where your team can leave feedback on specific items that you specify. This can be built for each interview or copied forward from previous interviews. Once you have your hiring workflow built out, you can always rearrange the stages from the left-hand menu. I challenge each of you to take a few minutes to think about your hiring workflow and how your team processes candidates. Having a solid hiring workflow allows your team to have repeatable and scalable processes as you continue to grow. If you have any questions about building out stages or any other part of the Recruiterbox process, please reach out to our team at any time at support@Recruiterbox.com. We're always around and we love to help out.